Hi everyone, I'm so excited to finally do this book review for you, which I have promised for a little while. I hope I'm going to have enough space, or just about enough space, to open this book. It is quite big, so it's like that. It is super heavy and it's not even hardcover, so you can see how much content there is. Let's see, how many pages do we have? 48 pages, so loads and loads to look at. This is the back of it. Just trying to figure out how to get it in frame. So this book is actually aimed at professionals, as you will learn from the title. So it's a second edition fashion drawing illustration techniques for fashion designers. So if it is aimed at them, you can imagine it's going to be fabulous. This book is by Michele, Wesen, Bryant. I'll just bring it up closer. I will link it down below for you, as always, so you can find it in your convenience. Okay, so let's dive into this. I have been looking for a book with fashion illustrations to try and learn a little bit more about the fashion illustrations, try to learn the proportions, how to make it look good, how to have that sort of fashion angle to it. And there have been quite a few fashion illustration books that are very almost old-fashioned and dated. I want to say dated is a good word for it. So when I came across this book, I was really excited because it's really fresh. It's got so many different illustrators and artists in here, and you can get inspired by so many different styles. So this book has been reprinted in 2019, so last year, but the first edition was printed in 2016. So it's not that old, but definitely has a great content. It is filled with information and very, very useful, very comprehensive, comprehensively put together. So you'll see in the introduction, part 1 is drawing fashion figures, and it includes drawing women, drawing men, and children with young adults. Then we also have zooming in, so it goes into looking at drawing hats, women's hats, men's hats, children's hats, drawing hands and legs and feet and shoes and all of that. So there are subgroups within that drawing part. And then we have working from life. In part 2 we have drawing garments, so that looks at how to draw fashion. So very useful again if you're interested in figure drawing as well as the fashion drawing. And that goes from basic garment details and silhouettes to drape, tailored clothing. Part 3 is rendering techniques. So we have rendering shine, rendering texture, rendering patterns, rendering shears. So it basically covers everything you need to know, and as it goes through all that huge amount of information, you are then getting introduced to these beautiful artists that very likely you haven't heard of yet, and there is so much to be inspired by. So I'll just do a little flip through because I wouldn't be able to flip everything. It's got so much information in here. So it starts with just a basic history of fashion illustration, which is, this is 1930s, and then World War II. Well, it starts earlier than 1930s. So they're going back right to the beginning, and we have here, 1819 to 1914, how the fashion was portrait, etc. So you start from the beginning and then you go through a little bit the 70s and all the, you know, 21st century, and then you look at the proportions in fashion drawing. It's always exaggerated, which is what I love. The long limbs, short kind of body, big head, and then, what should I say, torso, and then very long legs, and that kind of, you know, in itself presents the clothing quite nicely, because you can play with the garment. If it's a long skirt or long trousers, they look a lot better than if they were on short legs. So yeah, you can then play with also with the postures, which is what I was interested in, how to learn how to draw different positions and postures, what's it called? Poses, that's it. And even things like, you know, walking poses and things like that. There's also a lot of different mediums, so if you love mixed media, that will be right up your alley, because there is all sorts of things you can do, from watercolors to crayons. You can take your imagination, even collages and things. Yeah, so I mean, this is just an amazing book, and I'm glad I didn't see it earlier and only found it now, because this is the second edition, and I read somewhere in the book that an important part has been added to this book, which was not in the first edition, and so that's obviously quite good to have it all in one place. So as you can see, this book is obviously aimed at professionals, so it teaches how to do ruffles and things like that. However, also, if you are not a professional and you just want to learn how to do fashion illustrations, you know, you can learn a lot as well. So don't be afraid that it is targeted at professionals, because we all can contribute from these beautiful fashion illustrations. They really have pizzazz to them. They look quirky, and they have a great contemporary style to them. None of that sort of cheesy fashion illustrations from years ago. This is something I really enjoy. The aesthetics of it, the modern touch. Well, if you know my illustrations, you'll know that I would love something like that. Just really beautiful. And then also how to work with different fabrics, how to illustrate them, how to convey, you know, maybe background. I mean, this is still fashion illustration, but obviously it has some background to it, so less traditional in the sense of just having a pose there, like these, for instance. So it is so much more than you would first imagine from a fashion illustration book. So much to take in and run away with. So I couldn't recommend this book more. I mean, it's just beautiful, you know. So look at that. That's obviously digitized, so someone has taken pictures of fabrics and then collaged them together. So you can do digital as well. All right, so there we go. Look, there is an interesting mermaid here. Beautiful. So I've done already quite a few illustrations inspired by this book, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. Oh, I forgot to say, I actually did an illustration inspired from this book. I'll link it up here. It's a 3D illustration I did. So thanks for watching and see you soon.